If you're ready to work on sleep, but maybe you're not quite ready to jump into a full-blown sleep training plan, this video is for you. We're going to talk about 3 ways that you can improve your child's sleep, even if you're not ready to sleep train for whatever reason. Maybe you have reservations about just the term sleep training. Maybe you know you're coming up on a busy season and you can't commit to following through on a plan. Maybe you've tried sleep training in the past and it didn't feel good or it didn't work for your family or your baby. That's all okay. Today we're going to talk about 3 things that you can do without sleep training to get your baby ready for better sleep. These are the 3 things that I always come back to, both with my clients and with my own daughter. And they always come back with results. Hi, I'm Chelsea, creator of Tuned In Motherhood, and I am so glad you're here. Here we'll talk about all things early motherhood, especially sleep. And if you're enjoying these videos, I would love it if you would hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the tips and encouragement coming your way. Let's dive in here. We know that every child is different and every family is different and their approach to parenting is different, but there are 3 things, I like to call them my 3 pillars of sleep, that we can always do and adjust and make better that will almost always improve your child's sleep. And those are the 3 things we're going to talk about today. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is your child's sleep environment. And before I jump into some of the details, I just want to remind you that we always recommend practicing safe sleep. And that means that you're putting your baby in a crib alone on their backs. If your child rolls over onto their tummy to sleep, that's okay, as long as they can get there on their own. But we always want to make sure we're keeping our kiddos safe, and practicing these safe sleep habits is one of the best ways to do that. Okay, next, we want to make sure that our child's sleep environment is as dark as possible. Most babies do really well with a dark sleep environment. Now, if you're letting some light in during your baby's nap, I think that's fine. And even if there's a lot of light in your baby's room during their nap, I think that's fine if your baby is taking good naps. If your baby's not taking great naps and there's light in the room, check out some room darkening curtains. Make sure not a ton of light is coming in from the hallway, or there's not a night light, something like that, because light can be really distracting to babies when they're trying to fall asleep. The next aspect of your baby's sleep environment that we want to make sure is just right is the temperature. Now, the recommended temperature for babies' rooms or sleep spaces is 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know that this is not always possible. We don't keep our home always at that temperature. We like to keep it cooler for sleeping, and we like to save money on our heating bills. So if your baby's room is not between that 68 to 72 degree range, make sure that you're dressing them appropriately for the temperature that it actually is. And if you just want to do a quick Google search on TOG, or thermal overall grade, this can help you find the best way to dress your baby to make sure they're comfortable while they're sleeping. Finally, white noise. Now, I know not every parent is a big fan of white noise, and that's okay, but if your child is struggling, I always say it's worth a try, especially if your baby's still really little. This can help them feel more cozy and it can help create that womb-like environment that they're used to, because it's noisy in there. There's blood rushing, and all of those noises are really soothing for a baby. So white noise set to 55 to 60 decibels max is a great thing to try if your baby is struggling with sleep. Okay, the next pillar of sleep that I like to talk about is your child's bedtime routine. Now, this may seem a little silly to read your newborn a book, but setting these rhythms and routines into place can really help cue your baby that it's time to sleep. So whether your baby is 2 weeks old or 2 months old or 2 years old, having a bedtime routine is never gonna hurt your baby's sleep. It will almost always help. So we're gonna start with a bath. This doesn't need to be done every night, but if you're working towards a better sleep routine or sleep habits, it can be really good because having a nice warm bath actually lowers the body's core temperature, which promotes sleep. So definitely a good place to start with a bath. And then you're gonna go get your baby some nice cozy PJs, a fresh diaper, and maybe a sleep sack, or if they're really little and you're using a swaddle still, get that swaddle on. And then you're gonna nurse or give your baby a bottle if they're still taking milk or formula. And then you're gonna read a book or two, sing a song, get some snuggles, and put your baby in their crib, calm and awake. This part might sound intimidating if you're used to nursing your baby to sleep or rocking your baby to sleep, but this is actually where the magic happens, because by giving them this opportunity to fall asleep, even if you give them 5 or 10 minutes to try when you're right there or whether you're out of the room and you end up picking them back up and helping them a little bit more, just giving them that opportunity to practice can really go a long way. I also want you to think about what sleep associations your baby might have when you're thinking about building this bedtime routine. I know for my baby, it was her pacifier. She needed that pacifier to go to sleep. And a sleep association is anything that your baby needs every single time in order to sleep. So sometimes that might be nursing to sleep, taking a bottle to sleep, rocking to sleep, getting that pacifier. And these are not bad. They're not bad habits, but sometimes they can become unsustainable, and that's where they can become problematic. So take a look at those sleep associations and gently move things around, see how your baby does. They might surprise you. The goal of a good bedtime routine is to calm your baby down, to create consistency and routine, to cue your baby to sleep, and to create connection, especially for older babies. It's like filling up that connection tank before being apart for a long stretch of sleep. Okay, my third pillar of sleep is your baby's daytime schedule. Now, this looks different for every age of baby, and even every baby has their own preferences, or they're able to stretch a little bit longer, or they're miserable if they get super overtired. So pay attention to your baby and pay attention to their cues. But we want to create a developmentally appropriate sleep schedule for your baby. So we're going to take a look at how long their wake window should be. If you have a really little baby, it's going to be shorter, and as they get older, it's going to be longer. We're going to make sure they're getting the right number of naps and at the right time. And then we're going to make sure their bedtime is between 7 and 8. For most babies, that tends to be what works the best. And then we're going to make sure they're not waking up before 6 a.m. and they're not waking up past 7:30 a.m. So keep those in mind. You can Google age-appropriate wake windows or send me a message, and I'd be happy to help you figure out your baby's sleep schedule. All right, that's it. So just to recap, the 3 pillars of sleep that you're gonna check to make sure your baby is set up for success when it comes to getting a good, nice, long night of sleep is, first, we're gonna check their sleep environment. Is it safe? Is it dark? Is it the right temperature? And do you have white noise? Second, we're going to make sure that your baby has a nice, calming, consistent bedtime routine. It can be short and sweet, but we want it to be the same every single night to cue your baby that it's time to sleep. We're also in this step going to take a look at any sleep associations and think about how we can gradually pull back on support in a way that feels good for you and your baby. And finally, we are going to take a look at our baby's daytime schedule to make sure they're getting the right amount of sleep at the right time so that they're set up for success when it comes to those nice, long overnight stretches. I hope this video helped you. Don't forget to subscribe and follow along for all the baby and sleep tips. I'll see you next time.